Howdy everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be doing a tutorial on Autodesk TinkerCAD. TinkerCAD is a good starting point for most beginners in 3D modeling and has some basic features that are good to get started. So once you create your account, you'll see a lot of different features in here. You have 3D designs, circuits, code blocks, and lessons. For now, we'll just be using 3D designs. You can also create projects. If you have specific projects that you want to make and you want to put everything in a specific file, you can create projects and access them here. You also have some notifications here for important information on TinkerCAD. And now we'll get started. So to begin, you'll click Create New Design. It'll open up an interface with a fairly inventive name. I very much like TinkerCAD's naming system. And you'll see some important information pop up. But for now, we'll start with a regular box. You have your work plane here, and to move around your work plane, your middle mouse button pans around, and your right mouse button shifts it. Your left mouse button to click and drag and select boxes. So to begin, you'll click Select Box here, and just drag it into your work plane. You'll have a highlighted view of what you're putting in. So once you click, it'll create the physical object, and you have a few different points with which you can edit this object. So from our dialog box, if this is selected, our dialog box opens. This lock box only is if you want to lock your editing and you don't want it to move anymore. You can click this, but we'll leave this open for now. So our radius selects if we want rounded corners. Our steps relays the actual definition that we want on our object. So if you want a high definition object, you can scroll up to about 15 and you won't see any lines on your object. But if you want it to be more low poly, you can select 1 and this will have a very low poly rounded object. But since we just have a cube, this really won't matter. Our length, our width, and our height. You can also select solid or whole. Whole is used for if you're creating edits to objects and you just want to make large portions disappear. You can select whole. If you're just putting an object in your workspace, you want to click solid. So we'll just keep this as solid for now. And now to make some changes to our object, we can select the cylinder, but we want to subtract a cylinder from our object. So you can see we have a preset whole box and a whole cylinder. So we'll select this whole cylinder and we'll drag it into our workspace. We'll put it about there. We'll rotate around to see our object. And you can see we have these dialog pods that you can use to edit the width, length, and height of your object. But I like to use the dialog box when it's available. For cylinders, you can only use these pods, but for boxes and other objects, you mostly can use the dialog box. So here you can edit the amount of sides that you want for your cylinder. We'll go into solid mode to see that more easily. And if you click on solid, you can change the color of your object. For example, if we want everything to blend in, we can select red, like our box. Or if we want something different, we can select blue or any other color. Since you are going to have this in whole, it really doesn't matter what color we're selecting. But for sides, we'll just set this up a bit, around 26 or 25. Your bevel determines how much bevel you have on your object here, and the segments determine how much that bevel is rounded. For right now, we'll put a little bit of a bevel in just for aesthetic effect, but that's all we're going to do for now. We'll select whole, deselect, and using our left mouse button to select all the objects in our workspace, we'll go up to these portion here. Here you have group and ungroup. You also have align and mirror. Mirror is good if you want symmetric objects on both sides of your workspace and you want to edit everything in a symmetric way. You select mirror and you can select on which panel that mirror affects it. With align, what it does is it aligns objects based on midpoints. So if we select align, we can select these in the center, although we want this on the edge, so we won't touch that. Rotate around, and we can see we can select it on the middle here. You can see it shifted it over to get to the middle. We can also select it to go all the way to the right or all the way to the left. We'll select the middle for now, and now you can see it's a whole object and a solid object. Now to make that hole into our solid object, we'll select group, and you'll see now our hole of a cylinder popped into our solid of a box, and that left an indent directly in the shape of the cylinder. You can create some basic complex shapes with TinkerCAD, but for now that's a good overview of some basic features that you can use in TinkerCAD, but I'll make some more tutorials where you can use some more advanced features and make some more complex objects. Thank you for watching, remember to like and subscribe, and check out my locals community in the description.